Hello everybody, today we're working with Gal who recently had a hip replacement, and our goals are associated with trying to get in and out of a chair without using our hands, getting up and down stairs easier, and just increasing our general mobility and strength. Today she's doing a sit to stand for her first exercise using a TRX and her biceps to help her get in and out of that chair. The goal here is to use the legs as much as possible, driving the heels into the floor, keeping as much tension on the glutes and the quads as possible, using those biceps as little as possible. If you don't have a TRX readily available to you, we can always use, a chair with arms at it like I'm doing here at home, slowly coming down, driving the knees out, pushing off that chair to give me that little extra bit of assistance using those triceps. The next exercise here we're going to cover is our lateral band walk. So putting that band around our ankle, something medium to heavy, moving from side to side, just in one direction at a time, slowly taking those steps, keeping tension on with those knees bent and that butt sticking out, controlling our breath, controlling our balance. Over the course of 10 to 15 steps, hopefully we'll start to feel a burning sensation in those hips. If you're tight on space, like maybe you're working at home in the kitchen or somewhere else, maybe in your living room, you don't have 20 feet to walk back and forth, you can always do 2 steps to the right, 2 to the left, trying to keep tension on, moving extra slow like Gal is doing here, feeling that tension in the hips like she's touching in the video. Next variation here is a forward band walk. We have that band in the same spot, but now we're moving forwards instead of side to side, trying to keep those legs from coming inwards, driving those legs out in every step. So we see Gal moving step by step, heel to toe, slowly in control, taking that step out as far as she can without letting that foot come in. Our next exercise here, of course, is a standing hip flexor raise or a standing march. Gal's holding on to our side of our treadmill for support so she doesn't have to do all the balancing herself. Pulling that quad way up in the air, feeling the hip flexor, squeeze, and slowly coming down without letting that foot come backwards, keeping that foot in flexion. Our next exercise here is flexing the ankle and bringing that hip flexor straight forward, flexing the quad. Very similar exercise, slightly different variation. Holding on for stability, just like in our last clip, controlling the breath. Our next exercise here is going to be a standing hamstring curl. Gal is doing an amazing job keeping her weight forward, keeping her thigh in a line with her other thigh and not letting it come forward, squeezing through the back of the leg, bringing the foot up, pausing, and slowly coming down, exercising and demonstrating control, working on that back of the leg muscle, that hamstring, controlling the breath, not letting that knee come too far forward. Our next exercise here is called a face pull. We're using a band on this exercise just in case you're not at a gym and you want to take advantage of maybe bands you can purchase online or from Walmart. I think Gal got hers for around 20 from Amazon, but we're using a doorstop at the top to go high to low, trying to keep those elbows in a line with the shoulder. We notice as Gal is fatiguing here, those elbows are dropping because we're getting a little tired. So in this clip here, we're using a cable, but Gal's doing a much better job now as she's a little more fresh, keeping those elbows in a line with the shoulder, pulling that cable or that band right to her nose on every single repetition, squeezing those shoulder blades back, using that rear delt, as well as the scapular plane to squeeze as we pull that cable backwards, controlling the breath, exhaling as we pull toward herself. Our next and final exercise is more of a mobility drill than anything, and this is called shoulder dislocations. We're using a band for these, but you can always use a broomstick or a hockey stick or something laying around. Gal's doing an amazing job coming up and over from the lower of the back, touching the belly button, breathing in and out. All right, guys, so as we wrap up here, our final thing to consider is how many reps and sets of these exercises should we be completing. If you're someone like Gal who's been working with me for a little bit and built some base strength, then you should probably consider doing anywhere from 3 to 4 sets of every given exercise and kind of tailoring the exercise to be specific to you. So what I mean by that is that let's say you're doing your squats standing up and sitting down and you do 10 repetitions and it's really easy. What that probably tells us is we need to push those muscles a little harder to get what we're looking for out of that given exercise. So if you do 10 and you feel like you could do 15, that probably means we only used about 60% of our effort. We want to be shooting for our 80% effort range, if not 85, maybe even 90 as we progress and get a little stronger. So if we're doing that sit to stand, try it out, see how many is fatiguing for you, and try to do 3 sets of what is fatiguing. So if you do 12 reps and you say, I feel a good burning sensation in my quads and in my glutes by the time I do 12, then that means do that 3 times over, and then you finish that exercise and move on to the next one. I hope this is helpful. Tailor these exercises to your own ability. Take your time. Try these as best as you can. If you have any questions, leave some comments below, and hopefully I can get back to you and answer some questions. I hope this was helpful. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care. Catch you later.